Tigers are the most iconic of the big cats. With their gorgeous black and orange coats and long, white whiskers, they invoke in many a feeling of wonder and admiration. But though they are adored, they're also vulnerable to extinction. Around 5,574 wild tigers roam forests and savannas today, according to the Global Tiger Forum. Tigers are poached for their parts and lose habitat to human activity every day. The tiger, Panthera tigris, is the largest living cat species and a member of the genus Panthera native to Asia. It has a powerful, muscular body with a large head and paws, a long tail, and orange fur with black, mostly vertical stripes. It is traditionally classified into 9 recent subspecies, though some recognize only 2 subspecies, mainland Asian tigers and island tigers of the Sunda Islands. Throughout the tiger's range, it inhabits mainly forests, from coniferous and temperate broadleaf and mixed forests in the Russian Far East and northeast China to tropical and subtropical moist broadleaf forests on the Indian subcontinent and Southeast Asia. The tiger is an apex predator and preys mainly on ungulates such as deer and wild boar, which it takes by ambush. It lives a mostly solitary life and occupies home ranges, which it defends from individuals of the same sex. The range of a male tiger overlaps with that of multiple females with whom he mates. Females give birth to usually 2 or 3 cubs that stay with their mother for about 2 years. When becoming independent, they leave their mother's home range and establish their own. Since the early 20th century, tiger populations have lost at least 93% of their historic range and are locally extinct in West and Central Asia, in large areas of China, and on the islands of Java and Bali. Today, the tiger's range is severely fragmented. It is listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species, as its range is thought to have declined by 53% to 68% since the late 1990s. Major reasons for this decline are habitat destruction and fragmentation due to deforestation, poaching for fur, and the illegal trade of tiger body parts for medicinal purposes. Tigers are also victims of human-wildlife conflict for attacking and preying on livestock in areas where natural prey is scarce. The species is legally protected in all range countries, which have ratified conservation action plans, established anti-poaching patrols and schemes for monitoring tiger populations. The tiger is among the most popular of the world's charismatic megafauna. It has been kept in captivity since ancient times and has been trained to perform in circuses and other entertainment shows. The tiger featured prominently in the ancient mythology and folklore of cultures throughout its historic range and has continued to appear in culture worldwide. The tiger shares the genus Panthera with the lion, leopard, jaguar, and snow leopard. Results of genetic analysis indicate that the tiger and snow leopard are sister species whose lineages split from each other between 2.70 and 3.70 million years ago. The tiger's whole genome sequencing shows repeated sequences that parallel those in other cat genomes. Captive tigers were bred with lions to create hybrids that share physical and behavioral qualities of both parent species. The liger is the offspring of a female tiger and a male lion, and the tigon the offspring of a male tiger and a female lion. The lion sire passes on a growth-promoting gene, but the corresponding growth-inhibiting gene from the female tiger is absent, so that ligers grow far larger than either parent species. By contrast, the male tiger does not pass on a growth-promoting gene, and the lioness passes on a growth-inhibiting gene, hence, tigons are around the same size as either species. Since they often develop life-threatening birth defects and can easily become obese, breeding these hybrids is regarded as unethical. The tiger has a typical felid morphology. Its body is muscular with shortened legs, strong forelimbs, broad paws, a large head and a tail that is about half the length of the rest of its body. It has 5 digits on the front feet and 4 on the back, all of which have retractile claws that are compact and curved. The ears are rounded, while the eyes have a round pupil. The tiger's skull is large and robust, with a constricted front region, proportionally small, elliptical orbits, long nasal bones, and a lengthened cranium with a large. It resembles a lion's skull, with the structure of the lower jaw and length of the nasals being the most reliable indicators for species identification. The tiger has fairly robust teeth and its somewhat curved canines are the longest in the cat family at 6.4 to 7.6 centimeters, 2.5 to 3.0 in. The tiger is the largest living felid species, with the Siberian and Bengal tigers being the largest. Bengal tigers average a total length of 3 meters 9.8 feet, with males weighing 200 to 260 kilograms, 440 to 570 pounds, and females weighing 100 to 160 kilograms, 220 to 350 pounds. Island tigers are the smallest. The Sumatran tiger has a total length of 2.2 to 2.5 m, 7 feet 3 in, 8 feet 2 in, with a weight of 100 to 140 kilograms, 220 to 310 pounds, for males and 75 to 110 kilograms, 165 to 243 pounds, for females. The extinct Bali tiger was even smaller. It has been hypothesized that body sizes of different tiger populations may be correlated with climate and be explained by thermoregulation and Bergmann's rule. The tiger's coat is generally coarse and relatively thin, though the Siberian tiger has a thick winter coat. It has a mane-like heavy growth of fur around the neck and jaws and long whiskers, especially in males. It has an orange coloration that varies from yellowish to reddish. White fur covers the ventral surface, along with parts of the face. It also has a prominent white spot on the back of the ears which are surrounded by black. The tiger is marked with distinctive black or dark brown stripes, the patterns of which are unique for each individual. The stripes are mostly vertical, but those on the limbs and forehead are horizontal. They are more concentrated towards the posterior and those on the trunk may or may not reach under the belly. The tips of stripes are generally sharp and some may split up or split and fuse again. Tail stripes are thick bands and a black tip marks the end. Stripes are advantageous for camouflage in vegetation with vertical patterns of light and shade, such as trees, reeds, and tall grass. This is supported by a 1987 Fourier analysis study which concluded that the spatial frequencies of tiger stripes line up with their environment. The tiger is one of only a few striped cat species. It is not known why spotted patterns and rosettes are the more common camouflage patterns among felids. The orange color may also aid in concealment, as the tiger's prey are dichromate, and thus they may perceive the cat as green and blended in with the vegetation. The three color variants, nearly stripeless snow white, white and golden, are now virtually non-existent in the wild due to the reduction of wild tiger populations but continue in captive populations. The white tiger has a white background color with sepia brown stripes. The golden tiger is pale golden with reddish brown stripes. The snow white tiger is a morph with extremely faint stripes and a pale reddish brown ringed tail. White and golden morphs are the result of an autosomal recessive trait with a white locus and a wide band locus, respectively. The snow white variation is caused by polygenes with both white and wide band loci. The breeding of white tigers is controversial, as they have no use for conservation. Only 0.001% of wild tigers have the genes for this color morph, and the overrepresentation of white tigers in captivity is the result of inbreeding. Hence, their continued breeding will risk both inbreeding depression and loss of genetic variability in captive tigers. Pseudomelanistic tigers with thick, merged stripes have been recorded in Simlipal National Park and 3 Indian zoos. Population genetic analysis of Indian tiger samples revealed that this phenotype is caused by a mutation of a transmembrane aminopeptidase gene. Around 37% of the Simlipal tiger population has this feature, which has been linked to genetic isolation. The tiger historically ranged from eastern Turkey, northern Iran, and Afghanistan to Central Asia, and from northern Pakistan through the Indian subcontinent and Indochina to southeastern Siberia, Sumatra, Java, and Bali. As of 2022, it inhabits less than 7% of its historical distribution and has a scattered range in the Indian subcontinent, the Indochinese Peninsula, Sumatra, northeastern China, and the Russian Far East. As of 2020, India had the largest extent of global tiger habitat with 300,508 square kilometers, 116,027 square miles, followed by Russia with 195,819 square kilometers, 75,606 square miles. The tiger mainly lives in forest habitats and is highly adaptable. Records in Central Asia indicate that it primarily inhabited Taiga riverine forests and hilly and lowland forests in the Caucasus. In the Amurushari region of Russia and China, it inhabits Korean pine and temperate broadleaf and mixed forests. Riparian forests serve as dispersal corridors, providing food and water for both tigers and ungulates. 66 On the Indian subcontinent, it inhabits mainly tropical and subtropical moist broadleaf forests, moist evergreen forests, tropical dry forests, alluvial plains, and the mangrove forests of the Sundarbans. In the eastern Himalayas, it was documented in temperate forest up to an elevation of 4,200 meters 13,800 feet in Bhutan, of 3,630 meters 11,910 feet in the Mishmai Hills, and of 3,139 meters 10,299 feet in Medog County, southeastern Tibet. In Thailand, it lives in deciduous and evergreen forests. In Sumatra, it inhabits lowland peat swamp forests and rugged montane forests. Camera trapping during 2010 to 2015 in the deciduous and subtropical pine forest of Jim Corbett National Park revealed a stable tiger population density of 12 to 17 individuals per 100 square kilometers 39 square miles in an area of 521 square kilometers 201 square miles. In northern Myanmar, the population density in a sampled area of roughly 3,250 square kilometers 1,250 square miles in a mosaic of tropical broadleaf forest and grassland was estimated to be 0.21 to 0.44 tigers per 100 square kilometers 39 square miles as of 2009. Population density in mixed deciduous and semi-evergreen forests of Thailand's Hoi Kok Keng Wildlife Sanctuary was estimated at 2.01 tigers per 100 square kilometers 39 square miles. During the 1970s and 1980s, logging and poaching had occurred in the adjacent Mae Wong and Klong Lan national parks, where population density was much lower, estimated at only 0.359 tigers per 100 square kilometers 39 square miles as of 2016. Population density in dipterocarp and montane forests in northern Malaysia was estimated at 1.47 to 2.43 adult tigers per 100 square kilometers 39 square miles in Royal Belem State Park, but 0.3 to 0.92 adult tigers per 100 square kilometers 39 square miles in the unprotected selectively logged Demangor Forest Reserve. Camera trap data show that tigers in Kitwan National Park avoided locations frequented by people and were more active at night than during day. In Sundarbans National Park, 6 radio-collared tigers were most active in the early morning with a peak around dawn and moved an average distance of 4.6 kilometers 2.9 miles per day. A 3-year-long camera trap survey in Shuklafanta National Park revealed that tigers were most active from dusk until midnight. In northeastern China, tigers were crepuscular and active at night with activity peaking at dawn and dusk. They exhibited a high temporal overlap with ungulate species. Tigers groom themselves, maintaining their coats by licking them and spreading oil from their sebaceous glands. It will take to water, particularly on hot days. It is a powerful swimmer and easily traverses rivers as wide as 8 kilometers 5.0 miles. Adults only occasionally climb trees, but have been recorded climbing 10 meters 33 feet up a smooth peepal tree. In general, tigers are less capable tree climbers than many other cats due to their size, but cubs under 16 months old may routinely do so. Adult tigers lead largely solitary lives and establish and maintain home ranges or territories, the size of which mainly depends on prey abundance, geographic area, and sex of the individual. Males and females defend their home ranges from those of the same sex, and the home range of a male encompasses that of multiple females. Two females in the Sundarbans had home ranges of 10.6 and 14.1 square kilometers, 4.1 and 5.4 square miles. In Punna Tiger Reserve, the home ranges of 5 reintroduced females varied from 53 to 67 square kilometers, 20 to 26 square miles, in winter to 55 to 60 square kilometers, 21 to 23 square miles, in summer and to 46 to 94 square kilometers, 18 to 36 square miles. During the monsoon, 3 males had 84 to 147 square kilometers, 32 to 57 square miles, large home ranges in winter, 82 to 98 square kilometers, 32 to 38 square miles, in summer and 81 to 118 square kilometers, 31 to 46 square miles, during monsoon seasons. In Sikh-Hatalan Biosphere Reserve, 14 females had home ranges 248 to 520 square kilometers, 96 to 201 square miles, and 5 resident males of 847 to 1923 square kilometers, 327 to 742 square miles, that overlapped with those of up to 5 females. When tigresses in the same reserve had cubs of up to 4 months of age, they reduced their home ranges and steadily enlarged them until their offspring were 13 to 18 months old. The tiger is a long-ranging species, and individuals disperse over distances of up to 650 kilometers 400 miles to reach tiger populations in other areas. Young tigresses establish their first home ranges close to their mothers. Males, however, migrate further than their female counterparts and set out at a younger age to mark out their own area. 4 radio-collared females in Kitwan dispersed between 0 and 43.2 kilometers, 0.0 and 26.8 miles, and 10 males between 9.5 and 65.7 kilometers, 5.9 and 40.8 miles. A young male may have to live as a transient in another male's home range until he is older and strong enough to challenge the resident male. Young males have an annual mortality rate of up to 35%. By contrast, young female tigers die at a rate of only around 5%. Tigers mark their home ranges by spraying urine on vegetation and rocks, clawing or scent rubbing trees, and marking trails with feces, anal gland secretions and ground scrapings. Scent markings also allow an individual to pick up information on another's identity. A tigress in estrus signals her readiness to mate by scent marking more frequently and increasing her vocalizations. Unclaimed home ranges, particularly those that belong to a deceased individual, can be taken over in days or weeks. Male tigers are generally less tolerant of other males within their home ranges than females are of other females. Disputes are usually solved by intimidation rather than outright violence. Once dominance has been established, a male may tolerate a subordinate within his range, as long as they do not live in close quarters. The most serious disputes tend to occur between 2 males competing for a female in estrus. Though tigers mostly live alone, relationships between individuals can be complex. Tigers are particularly social at kills, and a male tiger will share a carcass with the females and cubs within this home range, and unlike male lions, will allow them to feed on the kill before he is finished with it. Though the female and male act amicably, females are more tense towards each other at a kill. During friendly encounters and bonding, tigers rub against each other's bodies. Facial expressions include the defense threat, which involves a wrinkled face, bared teeth, pulled back ears, and widened pupils. Both males and females show a flamen response, a characteristic grimace, when sniffing urine markings. Males also use the flamen to detect the markings made by tigresses in estrus. Tigers will move around their ears to communicate with the white spots, particularly during aggressive encounters and between mothers and cubs. They also use their tails to signal their mood. To show cordiality, the tail sticks up and sways slowly, while an apprehensive tiger lowers its tail or wags it side to side. When calm, the tail hangs low. Tigers are normally silent but can produce numerous vocalizations. They roar to signal their presence to other individuals over long distances. This vocalization is forced through an open mouth as it closes and can be heard 3 kilometers (1.9 miles) away. They roar multiple times in a row, and others respond in kind. Tigers also roar during mating, and a mother will roar to call her cubs to her. When tense, tigers moan, a sound similar to a roar but softer and made when the mouth is at least partially closed. Moaning can be heard 400 meters (1,300 feet) away. Aggressive encounters involve growling, snarling and hissing. An explosive coughing roar or coughing snarl is emitted through an open mouth and exposed teeth. In friendlier situations, tigers prussen, a soft, low-frequency snorting sound similar to purring in smaller cats. 103 tiger mothers communicate with their cubs by grunting, while cubs call back with meows. When startled they emit a woof sound. They produce a deer-like pock sound for unknown reasons, but most often at kills. The tiger is a carnivore and an apex predator feeding mainly on ungulates, with a particular preference for somber deer, Manchurian wapiti, barasingha and wild boar. Tigers kill large ungulates like gaur 107 and opportunistically, smaller prey like monkeys, peafowl and other ground-based birds, porcupines, and fish. Occasional attacks on Asian elephants and Indian rhinoceros have also been reported. More often, tigers take the more vulnerable small calves. They sometimes prey on livestock and dogs in close proximity to settlements. They occasionally consume vegetation, fruit, and minerals for dietary fiber. Tigers learn to hunt from their mothers, which is important but not necessary for their success. Depending on the prey, they typically kill weakly, though mothers must kill more often. They usually hunt alone, but families hunt together when cubs are old enough. They search for prey using vision and hearing. It also waits at a watering hole for prey to come by, particularly during hot summer days. It is an ambush predator, and when approaching potential prey, the tiger crouches with its head lowered and hides in foliage. It switches between creeping forward and staying still. Hiding tigers have been recorded dozing off and can stay in the same spot for as long as a day, waiting for prey, and launch an attack when the prey is close enough, usually within 30 meters (98 feet). If the prey spots it before then, the cat does not pursue further. Tigers can sprint 56 kilometers per hour, 35 miles per hour, and leap 10 meters (33 feet. They are not long-distance runners and give up a chase if prey outpaces them over a certain distance. The tiger attacks from behind or at the sides and tries to knock the target off balance. It latches onto prey with its forelimbs, twisting and turning during the struggle. The tiger generally applies a bite to the throat until its victim dies of strangulation. It has an average bite force at the canine tips of 1,234.3 newtons. Holding onto the throat puts the cat out of reach of horns, antlers, tusks, and hooves. Tigers are adaptable killers and may use other methods, including ripping the throat or breaking the neck. Large prey may be disabled by a bite to the back of the hock, severing the tendon. Swipes from the large paws are capable of stunning or breaking the skull of a water buffalo. They kill small prey with a bite to the back of the neck or skull. Estimates of the success rate for hunting tigers range from a low 5% to a high of 50%. They are sometimes killed or injured by large or dangerous prey like gaur, buffalo, and boar. Tigers typically move kills to a private, usually vegetated spot no further than 183 meters (600 feet), though they have been recorded dragging them 549 meters (1,801 feet). They are strong enough to drag the carcass of a fully grown buffalo for some distance. They rest for a while before eating and can consume as much as 50 kilograms (110 pounds) of meat in one session, but feed on a carcass for several days, leaving little for scavengers. Tigers sometimes kill other predators. In much of their range, tigers share habitat with leopards and dholes. They typically dominate both of them, though with dholes it depends on their pack size. Large dhole packs may kill tigers. Tigers appear to inhabit the deep parts of a forest while these smaller predators are pushed closer to the fringes. The three predators coexist by hunting different prey. In one study, tigers were found to have killed prey that weighed an average of 91.5 kilograms 202 pounds, in contrast to 37.6 kilograms 83 pounds for the leopard and 43.4 kilograms 96 pounds for the dhole. Leopards can live successfully in tiger habitat when there is abundant food and vegetation cover. Nevertheless, leopards avoid areas where tigers roam and are less common where tigers are numerous. Tigers tend to be wary of sloth bears, with their sharp claws, quickness and ability to stand on two legs. Tigers sometimes prey on sloth bears by ambushing them when they are feeding at termite mounds. Siberian tigers attack, kill and prey on ushery brown and black bears. Brown bears frequently track down tigers to usurp their kills, with occasional fatal outcomes for the tiger. The tiger generally mates all year round, particularly between November and April. A tigress is in estrus for 3 to 6 days, in between 3 and 9 week intervals. A resident male mates with all the females within his home range, who signal their receptiveness by roaring and marking. Younger, transient males are also attracted, leading to a fight in which the more dominant male drives the usurper off. During courtship, the male is cautious with the female as he waits for her to show signs she is ready to mate. She signals to him by positioning herself in lordosis with her tail to the side. Copulation is generally 20 to 25 seconds long, with the male biting the female by the scruff of her neck. After it is finished, the male quickly pulls away as the female may turn and slap him. Tiger pairs may stay together for up to 4 days and mate multiple times. Gestation lasts around or over 3 months. A tigress gives birth in a secluded location, be it in dense vegetation, in a cave or under a rocky shelter. Litters consist of as many as 7 cubs, but 2 or 3 are more typical. Newborn cubs weigh 785 to 1,610 g, 27.7 to 56.8 ounces, and are blind and altricial. The mother licks and cleans her cubs, suckles them and viciously defends them from any potential threat. Young open their eyes in a week, can leave the denning site in 2 months and around the same time they start eating meat. The mother only leaves them alone to hunt, and even then she does not travel far. When she suspects an area is no longer safe, she moves her cubs to a new spot, transporting them one by grabbing them by the scruff of the neck with her mouth. Cubs may die at a rate of 50% during these early months. Sources of mortality include predators, floods and fires. After around 2 months, the cubs are able to follow their mother. They still hide in vegetation when she goes hunting, and she will guide them to the kill. Cubs bond through play fighting and practice stalking. A hierarchy develops in the litter, with the biggest cub, often a male, being the most dominant and the first to eat its fill at a kill. Around the age of 6 months, cubs are fully weaned and have more freedom to explore their environment. Between 8 and 10 months, they accompany their mother on hunts. A cub can make a kill as early as 11 months and reach independence around 18 to 24 months of age. Males become independent earlier than females. Radio-collared tigers in Kitwan started dispersing from their natal areas at the age of 19 months. Young females are sexually mature at 3 to 4 years, whereas males are at 4 to 5 years. Generation length of the tiger is about 7 to 10 years. Wild Bengal tigers live 12 to 15 years. Data from the International Tiger Stud Book 1938 to 2018 indicate that captive tigers lived up to 19 years. The father does not play a role in raising the young, but he encounters and interacts with them. The resident male appears to visit the female, cub families within his home range. They socialize and even share kills. One male was recorded looking after orphaned cubs whose mother had died. By defending his home range, the male protects the females and cubs from other males. When a new male takes over, dependent cubs are at risk of being killed, as the male attempts to sire his own young with the females. Older female cubs are tolerated but males are treated as potential competitors. Tigers are recorded as hosts for various parasites including Diphyllobothrium arenacei, Tenia pisciformis, and Toxocarus species in India and Physoloptera preputialis, Dirophilaria ursi and Etenarta species in Siberia. Canine distemper is known to occur in Siberian tigers. A morbillivirus infection was the likely cause of death of a tigress in the Russian Far East that was also tested positive for feline panleukopenia and feline coronavirus. Blood samples from 11 adult tigers in Nepal showed antibodies for canine parvovirus 2, feline herpes virus, feline coronavirus, leptospirosis and Toxoplasma gondii. The tiger has been listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List since 1986, as the global tiger population is thought to have continuously declined from an estimated population of 5,000 to 8,262 tigers in the late 1990s to 3,726 to 5,578 individuals estimated as of 2022. During 2001 to 2020, landscapes where tigers live declined from 1,025,488 square kilometers 395,943 square miles to 911,901 square kilometers 352,087 square miles. Habitat destruction, habitat fragmentation, and poaching for fur and body parts are the major threats that contributed to the decrease of tiger populations in all range countries. Protected areas in central India are highly fragmented due to linear infrastructure like roads, railway lines, transmission lines, irrigation channels, and mining activities in their vicinity. In the Tanantharai region of southern Myanmar, deforestation coupled with mining activities and high hunting pressure threatens the tiger population in the area. In Thailand, 9 of 15 protected areas hosting tigers are isolated and fragmented, offering a low probability for dispersal between them, and 4 of these have no longer harbored tigers since at least 2013. In peninsular Malaysia, 8,315.7 square kilometers 3,210.7 square miles of tiger habitat was cleared during 1988 to 2012, most of it for industrial plantations. Large-scale land acquisitions of about 23,000 square kilometers 8,900 square miles for commercial agriculture and timber extraction in Cambodia contributed to the fragmentation of potential tiger habitat, especially in the eastern plains. Inbreeding depression coupled with habitat destruction, insufficient prey resources and poaching is a threat to the small and isolated tiger population in the Qinbei Mountains along the China-Russia border. In China, tigers became the target of large-scale anti-pest campaigns in the early 1950s, where suitable habitats were fragmented following deforestation and resettlement of people to rural areas, who hunted tigers and prey species. Though tiger hunting was prohibited in 1977, the population continued to decline and is considered extinct in South China since 2001. Tiger populations in India have been targeted by poachers since the 1990s and were extirpated in 2 tiger reserves in 2005 and 2009. Between March 2017 and January 2020, 630 activities of hunters using snares, drift nets, hunting platforms and hunting dogs were discovered in a reserve forest of about 1,000 square kilometers 390 square miles in southern Myanmar. Nam Fului National Park was considered the last important site for the tiger in Laos, but it has not been recorded there at least since 2013. This population likely fell victim to indiscriminate snaring. Anti-poaching units in Sumatra's Kiran Sea Splat landscape removed 362 tiger snare traps and seized 91 tiger skins during 2005 to 2016. Annual poaching rates increased with rising skin prices. Poaching is also the main threat to the tiger population in far eastern Russia, where logging roads facilitate access for poachers and people harvesting forest products that are vital for prey species to survive in winter. Body parts of 207 tigers were detected during 21 surveys in 1991 to 2014 in 2 wildlife markets in Myanmar catering to customers in Thailand and China. During the years 2000 to 2022, At least 3,377 tigers were confiscated in 2,205 seizures in 28 countries. Seizures encompassed 665 live and 654 dead individuals, 1,313 whole tiger skins, 16,214 body parts like bones, teeth, paws, claws, whiskers, and 1.1 t, 1.1 long tons, 1.2 short tons, of meat. 759 seizures in India encompassed body parts of 893 tigers, and 403 seizures in Thailand involved mostly captive-bred tigers. Seizures in Nepal between January 2011 and December 2015 included 585 pieces of tiger body parts and 2 whole bodies in 19 districts. Seizure data from India during 2001 to 2021 indicate that tiger skins were the most often traded body parts, followed by claws, bones, and teeth. Trafficking routes mainly passed through the states of Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Assam. A total of 292 illegal tiger parts were confiscated at U.S. ports of entry from personal baggage, air cargo, and mail between 2003 and 2012. Demand for tiger parts for use in traditional Chinese medicine has also been cited as a major threat to tiger populations. Interviews with local people in the Bangladeshi Sundarbans revealed that they kill tigers for local consumption and trade of skins, bones, and meat, in retaliation for attacks by tigers, and for excitement. Tiger body parts like skins, bones, teeth and hair are consumed locally by wealthy Bangladeshis and are illegally trafficked from Bangladesh to 15 countries including India, China, Malaysia, Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, Japan, and the United Kingdom via land borders, airports and seaports. Tiger bone glue is the prevailing tiger product purchased for medicinal purposes in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. Tiger farm facilities in China and Southeast Asia breed tigers for their parts, but these appear to pose a threat to wild populations by rising their demand. Local people killing tigers in retaliation for attacking and preying on livestock is a threat in several tiger range countries, as this consequence of human-wildlife conflict also contributes to the decline of the population. Internationally, the tiger is protected under CITES Appendix I, banning trade of live tigers and their body parts. In Russia, hunting the tiger has been banned since 1952. In Bhutan, it has been protected since 1969 and enlisted as totally protected since 1995. Since 1972, it has been afforded the highest protection level under India's Wildlife Protection Act, 1972. In Nepal and Bangladesh, it has been protected since 1973. Since 1976, it has been totally protected under Malaysia's Protection of Wildlife Act. In Indonesia, it has been protected since 1990. In China, the trade in tiger body parts was banned in 1993. In 1973, the National Tiger Conservation Authority and Project Tiger were founded in India to gain public support for tiger conservation. Since then, 53 tiger reserves covering an area of 75,796 square kilometers, 29,265 square miles have been established in the country until 2022. Myanmar's National Tiger Conservation Strategy, developed in 2003, comprises management tasks such as restoration of degraded habitats, increasing the extent of protected areas and wildlife corridors, protecting tiger prey species, thwarting tiger killing and illegal trade of its body parts, and promoting public awareness through wildlife education programs. Bhutan's first Tiger Action Plan, implemented during 2006 to 2015, revolved around habitat conservation, human-wildlife conflict management, education, and awareness. The second action plan aimed at increasing the country's tiger population by 20% until 2023 compared to 2015. In 2009, the Bangladesh Tiger Action Plan was initiated to stabilize the country's tiger population, maintain habitat and a sufficient prey base, improve law enforcement and foster cooperation between governmental agencies responsible for tiger conservation. The Thailand Tiger Action Plan ratified in 2010 envisioned increasing the country's tiger populations by 50% in the Western Forest Complex and Dong Phayien, Khao Yai Forest Complex and re-establish populations in 3 potential landscapes until 2022. The Indonesian National Tiger Recovery Program ratified in 2010 aimed at increasing the Sumatran tiger population by 2022. The third strategic and action plan for the conservation of the Sumatran tiger for the years 2020 to 2030 revolves around strengthening management of small tiger population units of less than 20 mature individuals and connectivity between 13 forest patches in North Sumatra and West Sumatra provinces. In 2010, representatives of the tiger range countries agreed to double tiger populations. The Thai Wildlife Preservation and Protection Act was enacted in 2019 to combat poaching and trading of body parts. In 2010, Malaysia passed the Wildlife Conservation Act, which increased punishments for wildlife-related crimes and has used its army and police for help in patrolling. Nearly all tiger habitat in the country are managed as one unit under the Central Forest Spine Initiative. Increases in anti-poaching patrol efforts in 4 Russian protected areas during 2011 to 2014 contributed to reducing poaching, stabilizing the tiger population and improving protection of ungulate populations. Poaching and trafficking were declared to be moderate and serious crimes in 2019. Anti-poaching operations were also established in Nepal in 2010, with increased cooperation and intelligence sharing between agencies. These policies have led to many years of zero poaching, and the country's tiger population has doubled in a decade. Anti-poaching patrols in the 1,200 square kilometers 460 square miles large core area of Taman Negara lead to a decrease of poaching frequency from 34 detected incidents in 2015 to 2016 to 20 incidents during 2018 to 2019. The arrest of 7 poaching teams and removal of snares facilitated the survival of 3 resident female tigers and at least 11 cubs. Wildlife corridors are also important for tiger conservation as they allow for connectivity between populations outside protected areas. Tigers were found to use at least 9 corridors that were established between protected areas in the Terai Arc landscape and Sivalik Hills in both Nepal and India. Corridors in forested areas with low human encroachment are highly suitable. In West Sumatra, 12 wildlife corridors were identified as high priority for mitigating human-wildlife conflicts. In 2019, China and Russia signed a Memorandum of Understanding for transboundary cooperation between 2 protected areas, Northeast China Tiger and Leopard National Park and Land of the Leopard National Park, that includes the creation of wildlife corridors and bilateral monitoring and patrolling along the Sino-Russian border. Rescued and rehabilitated problem tigers and orphan tiger cubs have been released into the wild and monitored in India, Sumatra, and Russia. In Kazakhstan, habitat restoration and reintroduction of prey species in Al-Bakash Nature Reserve have progressed, and tiger reintroduction is planned for 2025. Reintroduction of tigers is considered possible in eastern Cambodia, once management of protected areas is improved and forest loss stabilized. South China tigers are kept and bred in Chinese zoos, with plans to reintroduce their offspring into remote protected areas. A tiger hunt painted on the Bhimbetka rock shelters in India is dated to 5,000 to 6,000 years ago. The Emperor Samudragupta was depicted on coins slaying tigers. During the Mughal Empire, tiger hunting became a sport. They were chased on horseback and killed with spears. Emperor Akbar participated in such activities, and one of his hunts is the subject of a painting from the Akbarnama. Emperor Jahangir introduced firearms to tiger hunts. The British East India Company paid bounties for tigers since 1757, and tiger hunting continued under the British Raj. An estimated 80,000 tigers were killed between 1875 and 1925. King George V on his visit to colonial India in 1911 killed 39 tigers in 10 days. Tigers are said to have directly killed more people than any other wild mammal. In most areas, they avoid humans, but attacks are a risk wherever people coexist with them. Dangerous encounters are more likely to occur in edge habitats between wild and agricultural areas. Most attacks on humans are defensive, including protection of young. However, tigers do sometimes see people as prey. Man-eating tigers tend to be old and disabled. Tigers driven from their home ranges are also at risk of turning to man-eating. At the beginning of the 20th century, the Champava tiger was responsible for over 430 human deaths in Nepal and India before she was shot by Jim Corbett. This tigress suffered from broken teeth and was unable to kill normal prey. Modern authors speculate that feeding on meager human flesh forced the cat to kill more and more. Tiger attacks were particularly high in Singapore during the mid-19th century, when plantations expanded into the tiger's habitat. In the 1840s, the number of deaths ranged from 200 to 300 annually. Tiger attacks in the Sundarbans caused 1,396 human deaths in the period 1935 to 2006 according to official records of the Bangladesh Forest Department. Victims of attacks are local villagers who enter the tiger's domain to collect resources like wood and honey. Fishermen have been particularly common targets. Methods to counter tiger attacks have included face masks worn backwards, protective clothes, sticks and carefully stationed electric dummies. Tigers have been kept in captivity since ancient times. In ancient Rome, tigers were displayed in amphitheaters, they were slaughtered in venatio hunts and used for public executions of criminals. The Mongol ruler Kublai Khan is reported to have kept tigers in the 13th century. Starting in the Middle Ages, tigers were being kept in European menageries. In 1830, 2 tigers and a lion were accidentally put in the same exhibit at the Tower of London. This led to a fight between them and, after they were separated, the lion died of its wounds. Tigers and other exotic animals were mainly used for the entertainment of elites, but from the 19th century onward, they were exhibited more to the public. Tigers were particularly big attractions, and their captive population soared. In 2020, there were over 8,000 captive tigers in Asia, over 5,000 in the US and no less than 850 in Europe. Captive tigers may display stereotypical behaviors such as pacing or inactivity. Zoos are able to reduce such behaviors with exhibits designed so the animals can move between separate but connected enclosures. Enrichment items are also important for the cat's welfare and the stimulation of its natural behaviors. Tigers have played prominent roles in circuses and other live performances. Ringling Brothers included many tiger tamers in the 20th century, including Mabel Stark, who became a big draw and had a long career. She was well known for being able to control the tigers despite being a small woman, using manly tools like whips and guns. Another trainer was Clyde Beatty, who used chairs, whips and guns to provoke tigers and other beasts into acting fierce and allowed him to appear courageous. He would perform with as many as 40 tigers and lions in one act. From the 1960s onward, trainers like Gunther Gebel-Williams would use gentler methods to control their animals. Tiger trainer Sarah Houck was dubbed the Tiger Whisperer as she trained the cats to obey her by whispering to them. Siegfried and Roy became famous for performing with white tigers in Las Vegas. The act ended in 2003 when a tiger attacked Roy during a performance. In 2009, tigers were the most traded circus animals. The use of tigers and other animals in shows would eventually decline in many countries due to pressure from animal rights groups and greater desires from the public to see them in more natural settings. Several countries restrict or ban such acts. Tigers have become popular in the exotic pet trade, particularly in the United States, where only 6% of the captive tiger population in 2020 were being housed in zoos and other facilities approved by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. Private collectors are thought to be ill-equipped to provide proper care for tigers, which compromises their welfare. They can also threaten public safety by allowing people to interact with them. The keeping of tigers and other big cats by private people was banned in the US in 2022. Most countries in the European Union have banned breeding and keeping tigers outside of licensed zoos and rescue centers, but some still allow private holdings. Thank you for watching this video.